A radical plan to crack down on social media abuse is being considered by the federal government. For more, Nine's Oliver Haig joins us live in Adelaide. Ollie, how will it work?
Layla, good morning. Essentially, it will work the same as a passport. Australians forced to submit 100 points of identification, like their driver's licence or passport, when using social media accounts like Facebook and Twitter. Now, police would have access to those social media accounts, and it's all part of a crackdown on online abuse. Now, users could be liable for defamation suits or even criminal prosecution, and it's all part of a plan hoping to deter people from engaging in bad behaviour. Now, the recommendations were handed down by a federal parliamentary inquiry. They're reforms that are being considered by the Morrison government, with the chairman saying there is merit to remove the veil of being anonymous. Layla?
Let's talk about this report from an Adelaide, Australia news channel, which is claiming that the Parliament in Australia will be implementing internet passports in order to track people's use of the internet and to flag them for abuse. So the police will, the authorities, the police, the intelligence agencies will have access to these IDs, these passports that Australian politicians, the Australian government is looking to put in place, and they'll be able to monitor people's internet activities, and of course they'll be able to flag them for abuse, abusive content, hate speech, stuff like that, and even bring criminal charges against these people. This is kind of like the China social credit score, but it sounds even worse, actually. It sounds a lot worse, to be honest, because from what the report is saying, people can actually go to prison for their activity on the internet, and it's going to start out with social media. That's what I understand. And at first you're going to need one of these passports to log on to social media, to Facebook and Twitter, sites like that. But eventually the idea is probably to get this on an ISP level. So if you want to have an internet account at your home or something, you want to have internet access, then you're going to probably have to get one of these digital passports, and you're going to probably need that to log in. You're going to probably need that at Wi-Fi spots as well. Something like that is going to happen. But the first stage will be to get you on social media. So if you sign up for Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, stuff like this, if you sign up or register an account or log in, it'll probably be connected to your passport, to this digital passport. There's that word, passport, again. That damn word, passport. And you're telling me at the end of the day, they're not going to connect all of these passports into one. Your internet login passport to monitor your behavior, your COOF passport, all of this is just going to merge into one system. Of course it is. That's the most logical, natural thing to happen once they start implementing these different silos of verification and identification. This is really sinister, if true and if confirmed. This is a really sinister route that the Australian Parliament is taking. It's really funny because in February, just a few months back, the Australian government had a beef with Facebook. Remember that story where Morrison was pissed off at Facebook because the oligarch news publishers in Australia, the Murdochs and the News Corp and these guys, weren't getting what they called their fair share, their fair cut of the advertising revenue as publishers from Facebook and Google, so they wanted more of the pie. And Morrison threatened Google and Facebook that he would cut off their internet, he would cut off their access to the Australian market. And then Facebook and Google said, "Screw you! We're not going to allow you to. We're not going to allow Australian news outlets to publish on our platform." Anyway, at the end of the day, to make a long story short, they came up with a compromise and a solution. And Facebook is still operating in Australia, and the Murdochs and the news publishers are happy, and everyone came away, just fine from that deal. But literally 6 months ago, they were supposedly fighting with each other, right? And we were at the point where Facebook, Google, and these social media companies would have been banned from Australia. And not only Australia, Canada and the UK as well, because they weren't giving the publishing revenue to the big local publishing houses. And now they're working together. And now they're working together to implement these authentication ID passports to log into the internet. And these passports are going to be connected to your driver's license, your travel documents, all of this. So they're going to verify your identification. It's going to be a KYC scenario, a know your customer scenario, something that banks are already doing. And basically it's going to be that process where they're going to verify your identification, and then you're going to need that identification in order to log into social media. And eventually you're going to need that identification to log into your ISP, into your internet, into your Wi-Fi. That's where they're taking this. And once again, the police, the authorities, the surveillance state, they're all going to have this information. If you post something that goes against the government line, quote unquote, misinformation, maybe not even a post, maybe a retweet, maybe a share, anything like that, you're screwed. You're screwed. So I don't know if anyone has signed up to like any like crypto exchanges and stuff like that, where a lot of these companies do a KYC, a know your customer, when you sign up. And basically you give your information, you sign up, you register with your name, your birthday, your email, all that stuff, and then they run a KYC test on you. And basically what it is, you have to put an identification, upload an ID, a passport or a government identification card. You upload that, and then they make you take a photo holding up that ID. Or they make you take a photo where you're holding up, the date and time along with a unique number. So they take an actual photograph, a real-time photograph, and they run it against their database. They cross-check it with your identification to make sure it's you. And then the crypto exchanges unlock their services and let you trade. We're going to start seeing the same thing for social media. No doubt about it. And that's where it's going to start, is social media. Now, will Australia go through with this? Is this report from this Adelaide news company accurate? We'll find out. Maybe they're balloon testing this to see the public's reaction. Maybe they want to see how much pushback the Australian public is going to give for this. Who knows? But if this passes in Australia and this goes through and this is an accurate story, then man, we're really screwed. We really are. I don't know how you would get around this either if they put it at an ISP level. If like you can't log on to the internet without this passport, I really don't know how you get around it. I guess you'll have like black market access to the internet, and you'll have social media channels that are black market or stuff like that, blockchain, anonymous somehow. They'll figure out a way. They will figure out a way. But you know what's interesting about this law? One final thought. This is great for like the big tech companies, isn't it? It means that if you're a social media startup and say you want to like take on Facebook or Twitter or something like that, it's going to be impossible for you now, because all the regulation, the workforce you're going to need to actually do the KYC, the know your customer stuff, the monitoring of accounts, all the technology and all the manpower you're going to need, as well as all the lawyers, in order to make sure that you're on the up and up. Because, I'm sure that the police and the authorities, if you're one of these startups, they're going to be monitoring you very carefully. Everything you're going to need is going to be just too much. So they're pretty much destroying any competition as well, Facebook and Twitter and big tech. It's just going to be too costly and too difficult to be a social media startup. So they're probably very happy with this. Anyway, we'll see how this shakes out, everybody. That's the video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Duran.locals.com. A little noisy today as I'm walking around the streets of Athens. You can hear the cicadas in the background. It wouldn't be Athens without our cicadas chirping away. Duran.locals.com. The Duran shop. Use the code REALNEWS. Get 10% off. And make sure you check out all our other media channels. My videos, Alexander's videos, the Duran videos on Super U, BitChute, ODYSEE, and Rumble. Take care.